So hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, if you've never seen my face before, then hello, welcome to you. My name is Marlene, and on this channel we do a variety of things. Actually, there are a lot of different videos, but lately I've been into doing some series like TV show analysis, and this particular video is one of those. So you've probably seen by the title that the show I want to talk about today is Gossip Girl. Now I know the last video I actually uploaded was about Gossip Girl as well, but I finally watched it all, like all 6 episodes that are out right now. I watched them all. I got time to process them, and I have come to my conclusions about this TV show. The way I want to kind of go about this video is I'm going to talk a little bit about the TV show in general, and then I'm going to go into each specific character and talk about the storylines that they were giving, how I feel about them, just my overall feelings on every character. And then I'm just gonna go close it with a conclusion and kind of like tell you my actual, if I recommend it or not and things like that. Okay, so basically, after watching the whole show, I have come to the conclusion that Gossip Girl is its own worst enemy. Now, hear me out. I think they did a wonderful job creating characters and creating a world that is very interesting, that is so compelling. Like the characters, I am so invested in most of them. And I think that the problem with Gossip Girl is the Gossip Girl storyline. I don't know if it's the fact that we already know who Gossip Girl is, or what exactly the problem is. Like, I cannot pinpoint it to like one specific thing, but every single time Gossip Girl is on the scene, the storylines get kind of weird. That's everything I'm gonna say. When Gossip Girl is involved, storylines, they don't get better, they actually get worse somehow. So that is kind of like my overall analysis. I love the idea of this TV show. It has so much potential because it is created so well. It is so beautiful. The characters are amazing, but it hasn't really come into its own. Like, I think the last episode was actually one of the best episodes, and if you watch it, you're gonna notice that Gossip Girl isn't really a big part of the episode. I thought about many ways to do this. I thought about like maybe go episode by episode, but I think I'm gonna talk about like the overall character arc that they have. So first character is Julian. Obviously, she is my queen. I actually adore her as a character. I would love to be her friend. She is undeniably the queen bee of Constance, but she is such a beautiful person. Like, she is actually a nice person, and that's what I love about it, because in the original Gossip Girl, you got that Blair, who's delusional. I love her, like literally I love Blair, but she was a mess, and she wasn't the nicest person necessarily. And I think Julian is the nicest person. Like, she is so nice, which is why some of her storylines didn't really make sense, because every time she would get like kind of upset about a Gossip Girl post, or she would get upset with Zoya about something, it didn't make sense with her character, because she's a really nice person. Like, whoever created the show didn't really do her justice. She is such an interesting character. Like, literally, the fact that she has like her dead mom, she reaching out to her half sister who she didn't know. She has this depth as a character that I don't think is explored enough. Also, she has this whole like influencer and content creator side of her, which again, it's skin deep. Like, The storylines around everything are skin deep. And that's the problem that I have with most of the characters and with most of the storylines. They introduce this really great and amazing storylines that have such potential to be so good, but they only go skin deep. Something that is kind of like the way Gossip Girl is playing out is there's a storyline behind that goes through every single one of the characters episodes. And for Julian, it's her relationship with Zoya and her relationship with Obi. And those storylines, they're not explored enough. And then on top of those storylines, every single episode, it's in a way self-contained. Like every single episode has its own storyline. And those are not great. Like, I'm just gonna say that. The self-contained storylines are so bad. I do not like them. And the reason I don't like them is because they don't get into those storylines enough. The first episode with a fashion show, I would have loved to see the whole fashion show, the whole behind the scenes, Julian getting ready, doing a really important stuff. A lot of the episode taking part in that fashion show. I would have loved to see that. It didn't happen. And the same thing with the I think it was was it Halloween episode? The one where there was a costume party. Such a good idea. I love the idea of a Manhattan elite costume party. I would have loved for the whole episode to have been in that scenario, but you basically get to 5 minutes? 5 minutes of the episode are actually in the costume party, and then everything else is just kind of happening around the party. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like they don't go in hard enough. And they all have such potential, which is why I keep watching. I think Julian, she is such a beautiful character, but she didn't get the depth that she deserves. Moving on, we got Zoya, Julian's half sister, and I think she got a little bit more screen time. Her storylines were a little bit more developed. Her storylines don't necessarily make sense with her character. Like, she is introduced as this outsider who's a good girl, and she doesn't care about the whole elite. She's an artist, which, by the way, I've never seen her. I don't know if she paints. I don't know if she makes sculptures. Does she make movies? I don't know. I just know she's an artist. In the original Gossip Girl, you see Jenny, who she wants to be a fashion designer. She is always behind a sewing machine. That girl is always sewing. And with Zoya, they keep insisting on her being an artist, but they're not showing me that she is an artist. And she isn't even interested in going to art shows or museums or things like that. It is very, very weird. And also they say she is all for social justice and things like that, but she doesn't do anything. She said she wanted to be part of Ovi's group. I don't know, I think it was really no, but Ovi is part of a group, and they do I don't know what they do. Every single time I try to explain something the characters do, I can't explain it because I don't actually know what they do. It's okay, yeah, Ovi fights for social justice. How? I have no idea. So that's kind of the thing. I love the idea of Zoya being an artist, but they're not showing me the fact that she is an artist. And I don't know, the whole Julian Zoya storyline, it's really weird because Zoya, she claims that she does not want a part of Julian's world, but she ends up always being there and always and doing the parties and going to the shows and going out with everyone. which is kind of weird because she claims that she doesn't want to do it, and she could find other friends and other interests, but she doesn't. What is this character's motivations behind her actions? That's what's missing, because all of these characters, they're so thought out, but then every single one of their actions doesn't correlate. There's no correlation between the characters' motivations and their actions. And I think that with Julian and Zoya, they were trying to do like a Blair, Serena, Jenny hybrid in a way. Like Julian is clearly Blair and Serena. You combine them, you get the best of Blair and the best of Serena, and you get Julian. And then Zoya, clearly they were trying to do the Serena coming back story with the Jenny being like the new girl, the outsider, and they tried to create a character around those two characters from the original Gossip Girl, but it just didn't work because Blair had like a frenemies type of situation with both Serena and Jenny, but that's because Blair, first of all, Blair she's a bitch. So yeah, and she's very preoccupied about social status in a way that Julian is not. And that's the thing. Julian, she is a cool girl. She is not interested in social status. She does not care. So it doesn't make sense for her to have a frenemy type of relationship with Zoya. And on the sisters level, it isn't realistic either. I don't know. Those are the worst storylines because I think they're trying to mimic the way the original Gossip Girl worked, but it just doesn't work. Or at least they're not giving us enough information or enough depth in the storylines to understand why why Zoya and Julian are having these problems. I don't know. I can talk about this for hours and hours, but I don't think I'm gonna get anywhere. The next characters that I want to talk about are Audrey, Aki, and Max. And the reason why I want to talk about these three characters is because they got the best storylines. These three characters, in a way, are characters that they don't really get on the original Gossip Girl. I think they got new storylines, they got a new personality, which we love. And they weren't trying to mimic, well, I'm not going to say they didn't try to mimic anything about the original Gossip Girl, but it's not their main personality. Audrey, I love. I think she is so relatable. Like the first few episodes, she was just so stoic and she was so composed, and then by the time we get to the later episodes, we see her starting to crumble down. And the last episode, she was so raw. She had all of her emotions showing, which is so nice to see. Like the first episode, she was a zombie. Like, I'm sorry, I love Audrey, but she was a zombie. She needed a coffee or something to wake her up because she was just not present. And then to see her on the last episode shouting in a bathroom or just getting annoyed at everyone in the hospital, I think she got like the best character arc. I think we really got to see who she was, and we got to see her relationship with her mom, which is amazing. I love that storyline actually, and I think that storyline actually got a little bit of depth to it. I would have loved to see her relationship with her dad or what had happened to them before. But for what we saw and what the other storylines were, I think that one was actually pretty deep. Her relationship with Aki storyline, that was so good. So good. Like she finding out her boyfriend is actually attracted to men as well, how she deals with it. At the beginning, she doesn't really want to deal with it, but then she ends up kind of like accepting it and trying to move forward because she loves Aki. And also her accepting that she can be attracted to other people while in a relationship and getting over things. I actually love that. I loved those storylines. I think they were really good. They should get more screen time. To me, in my head, Audrey, Aggie, and Max are the main characters, or at least they should be. Moving on to Aggie. Aggie, oh my god, he is so sweet. In the last episode, we got to see a little bit of his family dynamic, and I love that. I love that. I love to see him with his parents, knowing where he comes from, why he is the way that he is. Because at the beginning, Aki didn't really have a storyline by himself. He was kind of like Audrey's boyfriend who is attracted to Mac, and kind of like Mac's sidekick as well. Like those are his two character traits. Like he is Audrey's boyfriend and Max's sidekick, and he is attracted to both of them. But by the time we get to the 6th episode, the last episode, I've grown to like him so much. We get to see him being a good boyfriend, a good friend, trying to be there for everyone, really caring about the people around him. He is such a lovely character. I love him. Like, I thought he was gonna be like really boring. As the series moved forward, I think they got him a personality. We got to see his personality a little bit more, and I've actually really fallen in love with him. So, like, when he goes out of his way, when Max is dating Rafa and he goes to confront him at the bar, like that storyline, I loved to see him kind of like being confrontative, because he was always very like nice, very like non-confrontational. So watch him in a situation where he stands up for himself and for his friend and possible lover. I really like to see that. I love to see that. It was so good. I love that storyline. Well, obviously we got Max, and at the beginning, Max was just like a carbon copy of Chuck Bass. He was bisexual Chuck Bass, which we love, you know. I love Chuck Bass. I know I shouldn't, but I love him. So I love the idea of having a Chuck Bass type of character in this reboot. But obviously it is 2021, so he needs to have some redeeming qualities. He cares. That's the thing. He really cares. He cares deeply about the people he loves. But at the same time, I think he is very much afraid of people hurting him, basically. I think he has a very like tall wall around him, and he's very afraid to let people in. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm not just like projecting my insecurities onto him. I think he is such a great character, and in this 6th episode, he has had such an immense growth without how do I put it? He is still Chuck Bass, but now he is Chuck Bass, but a little bit more vulnerable. But anyways, his whole storylines, they are so good, and they're actually quite well made. The whole storyline with his parents, I loved it. I love that storyline. I love that we got to see him with his parents, the fact that his dad kind of like blamed him for him cheating. Like it was such a good storyline. He was so devastated, and then when he goes to Rafa because he thinks that's a good idea, which obviously like we all knew it wasn't a good idea. But that whole storyline, I just thought it was so good. And then him realizing that was not good for him, and that Rafa was actually quite a bad person. And in the last episode, when he confronts him and actually sends that video to Gossip Girl. It was so good. I think he got such a good character arc. His storylines are always the best. I love to see him when he appears on the screen. I think he is my favorite character out of all of them. I enjoyed his storylines the most, and I think that's because they were the ones that got a little bit deeper. Because basically he has 2, maybe 3 storylines, while every other character had 20 storylines going on. He basically had his parents, Aki and Audrey, and Rafa. Those were his 3 storylines. And because he just had 3, they could really go deep into them. Every time he appeared on screen, one, if not 2 or 3 of those storylines were being shown and developed. And now we have our third pair of characters, which are Luna and Monet. And this is something that I am... When I was watching like interviews about how the new Gossip Girl was gonna be, before it even came out, one of the things that was promised to me was that there were not gonna be like minions. Like every single one of the characters was gonna have storylines, and it was gonna be like equally as important as the next one. And that is something that I don't think happened. Monet and Luna, they basically don't get storylines that don't revolve around Julian. They don't get storylines of their own. And it's such a shame because they were such good characters. I mean, Luna, oh my god, the actress who plays her, she is a trans Latina woman. Like, oh my god, it is so important. It is so important to have that representation on TV, but she doesn't get any storylines. She doesn't get airtime, basically. And then Monet, again, she is a woman of color, and also she is bisexual in real life. And I think actually Monet is a lesbian, if not bisexual, in a TV show. And they're so cool. They're so cool. I love those characters. I love that idea of having those characters, but they don't get storylines. I don't know anything about them. I don't know what motivates them. I know that they are Julian's PR team. That's about it. The only moment where I saw like a glimpse of hope for Monet, because for Luna I didn't get it. Like she was Julian's minion throughout the whole series. But Monet actually, and I think it's the 5th episode when she kind of like deserts Julian for the other 2. And she's like, I gotta think about me. I gotta think about my career. I thought that was great. I thought, oh my god, yes, we are actually gonna have a Monet storyline that it's her own. But then in the 6th episode, she isn't even there. It's like, if you're not gonna be part of Julian's life, then you are not gonna be in this TV show. Which I hate. I hated that so much. I wanted to see Monet kind of like doing all of her PR, being like, because she is smart. Like Monet is smart. And her putting all of her energy into something else, like kind of like falling out with Julian and the group, no. They didn't notice it. It's like they went a whole episode without even mentioning her name. It was very, very weird. I wish they would have given them a little bit more personality and storylines. Ovi is, to me, please don't attack me. To me, Ovi is the worst character. Because basically he is a glorified Nate Archibald. I don't mind it as much if he would have had a personality or storylines or something. But literally the only the only place that he occupies in this whole TV show is being either Julian's love interest or Zoya's love interest. Like, I don't know anything about him. Like, literally, I don't know anything about him other than he is Julian and Zoya's love interest. They did him so dirty. Honestly, I don't care about him. That's the thing. Me, as an audience member, I don't care about him, and that's not good. I should care about him. He is supposed to be just like sympathetic, down to earth, boy who cares about things, but I don't know what he cares about. Like, literally, have no idea what he cares about. And the only storyline, and it was kind of like half a storyline that he got, was in the last episode when his mom came to town. And I don't think that storyline was about Obi at all. I think it was more about like Zoya than it was about Obi. So, that poor boy did not get a storyline. I'm briefly going to talk about the grown-ups, because obviously they're part of the show. I don't think they were as necessary. Honestly, the whole teachers being Gossip Girl storyline, I don't like it. I have decided that I do not like it. I really like the mystery of not knowing who Gossip Girl is. And then the parents, I like the fact that they're present. And I like that they have a relationship with their kids. And I like the storylines about like the kids having like troubles with the parents. Like the whole Max storyline, Max and his parents storyline. That was beautiful. I loved it. I love it. Audrey's mom kind of like storyline. But I like them because it directly reflected on the kids. I mean, the kids are the whole story. They are the main characters. So having the parents have storylines outside of the kids, like Zoya's dad, for example, like him dating Miss Keller, like what? I didn't like so much. Or the whole storyline about like Julian's dad having a girlfriend who disappears. By the way, she disappears after an episode. It was kind of weird. I don't know. I didn't like those storylines. I don't think the storylines about the parents work when they're not in relation to the kids. But yeah, I don't know. I think in conclusion, I think the last episode was actually kind of good. I like where they're going with all of this. I think they kind of gave us bits of the storylines that are gonna come. Aki, Audrey, Max, the whole throuple thing. I think that's gonna be a thing. I love that. Again, those are my 3 favorite characters. So I would really love to see how they're gonna move forward. The whole like Audrey and her mom storyline. I like that when she wakes up in the hospital and she says like that she was so sorry. I really want to see Obi and Julian. I think Obi and Zoya were the worst couple. The worst couple ever. I don't understand why they were together in the first place. And also, oh my god, that last scene, when Max sends Gossip Girl the video of him and Rafa, and Miss Keller watches that video, and then it gets deleted because obviously like by now Rafa had access to the accounts. I love that. I think that is gonna be a good storyline. Actually, like a good storyline. I really want to see that storyline play out. Yeah, those are gonna like my opinions on Gossip Girl. Do I recommend it? Yeah. I think watch it, but don't have high expectations. I'm gonna keep watching it. I cannot wait for next part of the season. I think I like it. I think I like Gossip Girl. But yeah, it has so much potential. That's the thing. It has so much potential. I really like the characters. Like, I love the characters, and I think that the last episode, it was really good. And if they keep going in that direction, I think it has the potential to be a good TV show. But that being said, I'm on the fence about it. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't categorize this as a must watch or even like a good TV show. Like, I don't think it's that good. I think it has potential to be good, but it isn't good yet. So yeah, this is it for now. The end of my Gossip Girl analysis videos. For now, I'm gonna see you all back in November for more video. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna keep posting, just not about Gossip Girl. But yeah, that was kind of it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because it would really help me out. And yes, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.